Hi, everybody. We're having another conversation today, and today our conversation is, it's a new day for education in the state of Oklahoma. Because the schools have been shut down, all of the learning has gone home, and every home has been turned into a school. I can only imagine if this would have happened when my kids would have been young, we would have had a recess for 4 or 5 hours a day. But today we've got some folks with us that can help us out. This can give us some encouragement and some tools to be able to help those of you who are parents, some of you who are working at home, as well as trying to help your kids educationally. So the very first question I've got for us today is, give us some encouragement. What do you do with folks that are not teachers? And Jessica, you were a teacher for many years. What encouragement could you provide?
I'd say just to not expect yourself to be perfect, to give yourself some grace and to give your kids some grace as you're going through this together. Their teachers allowed them to make mistakes, so it's something that you need to be capable of allowing to. It's helpful to skim your lessons before, just to give them an idea, or give yourself an idea of what it is, and maybe give you some time to educate yourself a little bit. And I know the big one right now is that teachers teach differently than we were taught when we were younger. That is okay. There's still lots of different ways you can teach them. So just do some research on that. And then use your older kids to help your younger ones. That one's big. When I'd be in a classroom, I would always mix my groups, maybe the higher ones with some of the lower ones, so that they could learn from each other. And that kind of takes the load off of you. So.
That's some great advice. So the pressure's not on that we have to be the teacher like the teacher they had, right, but we can be the teacher that's in their home. I got a second question for you. I know that our schools, Edmond, Oklahoma City, they've got online learning now, right? Right. But there are probably parents that were like me. I'm still working on my times tables, and I'm 58 years old. So Trey, can you help us out? Are there resources outside of the lesson plans the kids are receiving that could help us out?
Well, Mike, I'm not sure that I'm qualified to help you with your times tables. I'll talk to Ms. Dorner about that. But I relate to your question because I didn't graduate from high school. So education was not, although it was important, in my home, I didn't value it myself, and so I didn't graduate from high school. But later, by the grace of God, I was able to finish with a GED. Later, I went on to Francis Total certifications, and then went on to college and completed there. So I understand a little bit.
That's a great story.
Thanks. Something I would probably say, and going along with Jessica, is to not expect yourself to be your child's teacher. You're not the teacher. You're just instructing, right? So here are the lessons. This is what we need to do. Let's get from point A to point B. Something that I read on NPR, which is really good for parents. They're focusing specifically on homeschooling. A few soft skills that they recommend is to be realistic is one. Be realistic about what you're trying to achieve and what you're doing with your child. So it's not realistic that I'm Jessica, right? She has a teaching background. I'm not a teacher, so I don't think the parents should expect themselves to be teachers and to do what was done in the classroom as well. Another thing is to be forgiving. Forgive yourself and to have grace with yourself as well as with your child or your children as they're learning. Because things are different. The way you and I learn our math is a lot different than the way it's taught now. And so just because you're not doing it the same way, just have grace with yourself and with your kids. Know your kids is a third one they recommend. Do passion projects, so music, art, engineering, Legos, all kinds of fun, crazy stuff. Home ec, cooking. Set up your space and your time is another one. So that kind of goes with structure. You kind of map out your day. So from this time to that time, we're going to work on schoolwork. And if at all possible, I know everybody's not able to do this, but if you have a spot in your home that you can commit to that education time, then I would recommend that you do that. So that's your private space. Or you just, when you set aside your time, if you don't have the space in your home, like to designate specifically to that, then just kind of at the dinner table at this time, we're going to be working on schoolwork. And then the last thing is just to have fun. And I think that's a huge part of it. There's a lot of stress. And so try to have as much fun as possible, because I think that's going to make it easier for the child to learn, and it'll be easier for the parent to instruct if everybody's having a good time with that. Oklahoma City Public Schools on the website, they have a really good, I think it's a really good outline for how we do this. So they recommend about 45 minutes minimum of content learning. So I'd say probably start there, and just don't make your child's education optional. So, I mean, you wouldn't not let them eat for a week, so don't not let them learn for a week.
45 minutes of substance and then recess.
Yes, yes. That's how we do it.
Call me. I'll come and help with the recess part. You know, one of the other things that I've been thinking about is there's so many distractions for kids today. They've got video games, their phone, YouTube, all these streaming services. How in the world can you get them to lock in and give that 45 minutes worth of attention to doing a lesson? Ryan, you got any thoughts?
Yeah, because I use boundaries for myself. The phone, it's a huge temptation. So parents, you may not know this, but you can set restrictions on your kids' phones. So you can limit the amount of time they spend on a game. You can limit how long they're surfing the net. You can put any boundary you want. You could even shut it off from, say, 8:30 to 12 o'clock during that structured time of learning. So that's a great way if you're at work to keep some boundaries. But also incentives are great. Honestly, I don't know if there's a lot of incentive to learn right now, because your grade can't go lower than it is already. So students are like, why am I doing this? Well, give them some incentives. There's a parent around here, Camellia Child. She had her 2 boys do a book report and do a video of what they learned from that book. And so because they did that, they got to enjoy their technology, they got to eat. So the incentive may be you're not going to get punished. But the key is just to make sure they have boundaries. And there's a ton of resources that you can check out. You can contact me or any of these guys. Disney Circle, Apple and Samsung have their own restriction apps. So just dig in, and incentives are big.
So if I do my homework in the morning, I can eat lunch.
There you go.
That's a great motivation.
It worked for me.
A wonderful motivation. Well, I hope our conversation has been some help to you. If you do have more questions, please give us a call here at Britton Christian Church at 848-2046. A mind is a terrible thing to waste. So let's dig in, starting right now, and keep doing those lessons. And Mom and Dad, we're praying for you. We know you're in a situation that none of you ever dreamed that you would be in, but this is an opportunity, not an obstacle. So jump in there with your kids. Have a great day.